Countdown day 16 to Vegas. When I was a white belt and drinking Long Island's. I remember when I used to live in San Francisco, I used to always go out to this bar called Red Jack Saloon. I was there Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturdays, and I would always talk to this person, Patrick, every so often, because I know he'd give me a free drink. And I would just be there got there about 9 o'clock, and I finished up about, just when they closed. I used to always head home. And I remember back in those days, in addition to Red Jack Saloon, I'd also go to another bar. There's some bars in this other area of San Francisco. And sometimes I'd go down to Fisherman's Wharf to visit those local bars and hang out. And I think my weight was about 195, and then it went up to about 200. And then I moved down to Los Angeles, California, down to the Southern California area. Then I started going out again. Used to go out and drink. Long Island's my drink of choice. Was going out, still having those. This is back in the 2000s, so still having those one-night stands, doing crazy stuff. Yeah, also I'll have doing that drinking, driving. I used to go to this place called Belmont Shores and hang out. And finally, my weight got up to about 220 something. This is about 2005, 2006. My weight was about 200. Then I started having problems with my knees. And then our weight eventually got up to 215. And then I finally went to the doctor and asked him, what's going on? What does he recommend? He said, maybe you should lose some weight. I said, sure. Then I still was going out, buying myself the 12-pack of Mickey's and drinking it at home, or going out with some friends to a El Torito, having drinks. Still doing the crazy stuff, meeting the women in the bar. This is before the age of the internet, when you could go to Craigslist, and I did that too, man. I was a couple of girls I met in Hollywood. I remember I went up with one, and we took a bath, and she bathed me before we went into the bath. Before we had sex, she wanted to bathe me and all kind of stuff. I had a beer in the bathroom, let her bathe me. Then I went to the bedroom and hit it. And then what happened was, finally, I guess I was starting to get I remember my grandmother says, you need to control your temper, Martin. You need to control your temper. And I didn't pay any attention to her. And then I started working more outside doing construction, and I used to get into arguments with the contractors. I used to argue with people on the phone about doing things. So then I finally realized, I need to go work on my temper thing, because I'm the kind of person, if the neighbor was playing their music too loud, instead of going to the management, I'd be the one to go over there and say, can you please cut your music down, and all type of stuff. So I remember I went to this martial arts studio. I was in my 40s, and I said, okay, I'll just go take these martial art classes and see if I can learn how to control my temper. Because that's just something, I don't know why I wanted to do it. I decided I should go there. Probably more therapeutic than going to a shrink. So I remember I went to this one studio called Golden Tiger Martial Arts, and there was this 10 and 13-year-old son. They were already black belts. They were going to be one of my instructors and some other people. And I remember saying, okay, I'll try this. And then they had me do some push-ups, and I remember my weight back then got to about 225 when I started the martial arts course. My listening skills were my posture was bad. I was leaning over. I didn't have a lot of athleticism. So I remember they used to make me stretch, and I was like, oh, that was painful. Then I was like, okay. I remember I used to go from work to the studio, taking classes from about 5:30 to 6:30, and okay, we have to do some push-ups today. I'm like, okay, I'll probably do 10 or 20 push-ups. Can barely do 15 push-ups, and then I'm dying. And after you do the push-ups, you have to do the sit-ups. And I remember, okay, I'll try this for a while. And I remember I used to have those heavier lunches where we'll go eat some money, eat at a Mexican restaurant, or go to a McDonald's or another place to get hamburger and French fries. But then I remember I'd go to class that night and barely able to complete the workouts. So then I'd have to modify so I finally realized, if I'm going to keep taking these classes, I'm going to have to change my diet. So that's when I started cutting back on the alcohol, cutting back on going out, cutting back on the Craigslist stuff, and just say, okay, let me just focus on improving my temper, and then eventually I'll drop out of the course and go do something else. And then you end up standing with them for about 7 or 8 years, almost going up to a second-degree black belt. But the white belt was kind of like was sort of the hardest, and even the orange belt and whatever belts came after, because I had to learn how to modify what I did prior to what I was going to do forward. And now, as I was able to take those skills, I realized like it's good to have something planned later in the day or later on the weekends, because that prevents you from doing the stupid stuff. Because I've done the stupid stuff, man. I'd go to the bar, be at some girl's house all weekend messing around or taking trips to Palm Springs, wasting money. But then what I really learned was just how to like plan out my schedule. Well, like so I've learned if I keep my schedule busier enough, I won't do any crazy stuff. And then I can reward myself later instead of just doing something done and just rewarding myself at the spur of the moment. So as you've learned, like eventually, like I used these skills to reduce my student loan from a high of $94,000 to a low of a low of $40,000 as of August 2019. And the only reason I did that was I kept my weekend schedules busy. I said, okay, I'm going to start a side business. If I'm not going to start a side business, I'm going to go out on the weekend and do some work, some jobs. So that's when I started picking up jobs at Macy's during the Christmas season. I work at a team play event, setting up the portable things, or I work at a place like the Donut Run, doing a project. So I like to say, okay, if I'm going to go out and work someone and make money on that day before, then I'll try to have it where I don't do any type of drinking or do anything, and I'll just focus on taking notes of how I'm going to just be my best, like be the best employee. And that's helped me a lot, because that really helped me, because like as you know, the stock market dropped 800 points and people are talking about the fear of recession. It reminds me about the Great Recession. I don't know if you guys remember, some of you guys may be too young, but in 2018 we had something called the Great Recession, and that's when people weren't able to get credit, and that's when a lot of banks closed. Like there's like the number, like if you go by a lot of vacant buildings, these are the credit unions that closed before. So that's something that happened. And credit unions that closed, and I used to like, there were like Bear Stearns and a place called, there used to be this massive bank called IndyMac that went out of business. And that's when the stock market was dropping 10 and 5,000 points in a week. So when I hear signs of recession, that just means you just have to work harder. Because what that means is when a recession comes, it just means now they're not going to give you as much money as you thought. Biggest thing that happened during that Great Recession, I remember, because I was like, I tried to be a real estate mogul with buying duplexes, and I assumed everyone would pay money regardless of if I raised the rent a lot, and that was a mistake. And how that ties in with the white belt is during that time, like I had to learn how to just deal with stress without getting drunk, because I was still taking the martial art classes, and back then I got up to I was probably like a yellow belt and stuff, and that's when things started falling apart for me. My mom had passed away, and then I had then eventually my grandmother passed away, and I remember doing that recession time. It was like maybe from 2008 to about 2014 is when like everything was really slow. There was no Amazon warehouses being built. There was not a lot being done. And I just remember I always had to like plan out, okay, what am I going to do this weekend to go make some extra money? Because I had my primary residence, which was like a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, that was about to go into foreclosures, and I was on the verge of losing 2 duplexes because I thought the tenants would help me. I was going in debt, taking out lines of credit, hoping that I would be able to pay it back with the rent from the tenants, and just nothing ever worked. And all I could do is like, I got to plan out my schedule. What can I do to keep myself busy so I don't go back and blow more money doing something else? And that's when I just learned the importance of just keeping your schedule busy. And now as I hear like these rumors about the recession for 2008 or 2009, 2020, I realize now the time like you just have to start like, this is when I like go out and start just earning extra money and just learning them ways just to start different businesses. Because I know the reasons a lot of businesses go out of business is they just don't know how to sell. They don't modify their sales strategy, and they start like not micromanaging and just thinking someone else will solve my problem. And one thing I've learned, because I remember back in like early 2000, I also lost money because I didn't micromanage someone I gave money. This is one of the times where you didn't have like there were, you know what, there used to be a time where there were no websites. I think I gave a person about $4,000 or $5,000 to like do a website for me, and she ended up just disappearing. I went by the office one day and the gate was locked and she was gone. And that was just during the times where there was like, you had to, when it came to like the technology, there was no technology. There was like, I remember I tried to design my web page. That's when WordPress and everything were in their infancy and stuff. And there used to be like something called, what is it? I can't remember. It's the one that you call. I can't see. It's been so long. One thing I learned, the difference between now and the economy then is, now you basically can run a business for your phone. Like to videotape or talk to you like this, I'd have to go to a studio, talk to someone, get it recorded, then find someone to market it. So the biggest advantage I have over this current recession that we're going to, than the Great Recession, is basically if I'm marketing to the world, if I can learn how to get traffic, build myself a list, follow up on the list, give them a good product, get some referrals, and keep expanding, that's how I'm going to make money. So that's the difference between, that's why I like keep my schedule busy, because I know things are going to get bad soon. I already see it, like, because during the time of that Great Recession, every developer was building the houses. And what you see now, instead of houses, I see warehouses going up everywhere. And the reason I know we're going to have an issue is because everyone can't sell. So if everyone can sell, eventually a lot of these businesses are going to close, or if they don't close, they're going to automate their warehouses / fulfillment centers, which in my day was a warehouse over there off of El Segundo and Vermont Avenue in the city of like Crenshaw or Torrance. So a warehouse that could be there today, it could be automated tomorrow. So that's why I want you to learn. That's why I'm learning how to keep my schedule busy, finding ways to get money. Because the more money you have, if things do hit the fan, hopefully money doesn't become totally worthless. That's when your power will increase. And then I'm planning on my Vegas trip right now, and that's my next thing. So that's Countdown 16 to Vegas. So let me give you my blackjack tip of the day and my dental tip of the day. My dentist tip of the day is, I want you to work on following up. I want you to work on 1 to 2 ways you can follow up with the patient who ever bought from you or didn't buy for you. That's what you're going to do. I don't care if you call them, send a letter, send a text, but you have to do 2. And then in the end, whether it's a text, letter, personal visit, you have to call them on the 3rd try. Try it out. And my blackjack tip of the day is soft. We're going to work on doubling down on soft hands. So today, the doubling down hand we're going to work on is the soft ace. When you have an ace and a 2, it's called a soft hand. So when you have an ace and a 2, and a dealer has a 5 or 6 up card, which means that's the card they have showing, I want you to double down, otherwise hit. So that's your blackjack tip of the day. And now I have to head off because you see I'm in beautiful, like the palm screen. Okay, let me look. Slow down. This is like Windy Point. We're about to do a big overlay project. So right now I'm out here preparing, taking notes. So when the actual project starts and we have our pre-construction meeting, I've already prepared instead of being unprepared. And that's why I always keep my schedule busy so I don't get caught by surprise.